In our most recent demo, I showed you how I give a full session, and it was a lot of Alexander technique in there. And I understand that I cannot expect every crystal surgery student to also be an Alexander teacher. We're very fortunate that in our current group we have a lot of Alexander teachers in the group, but I don't expect that to be the case in the future. And so I want to just explain to you what to do if you're not an Alexander teacher, because I'm working according to certain principles and dynamics, and I have actually built those principles and dynamics into pieces of crystal surgery, and I wanted to explain to you which dynamics are in which part of crystal surgery so that you can also bring about those effects that I am striving for with my Alexander technique. I have actually empowered you via crystal surgery, and I want to highlight those aspects in this demo. So the first thing that the Alexander technique delivers is that you get a physical alignment, like a postural alignment. And let's look at that to begin with, because that's what you need for the person when they lie down on the table. And mostly people lie down in a disaligned way, and it's actually quite a lot of work to get them straightened out and to get them properly aligned. So we'll look at what I do, and then we'll look at how you want to lie down, what's not to do and what to do, just to do with the lying down on the table part, which is actually quite puzzling and quite difficult to get right. We don't expect it, and we might want to skip this step, but you do want that physical alignment before you start the energy work. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so Linda, if you can just lie down without paying attention to your alignment so that we can see what happens when you don't pay attention to your alignment. So put your head down and then swing your legs around, and then don't straighten yourself. Pause there so that people can see what that looks like, okay?
Okay.
Good. So Linda, this time you begin by swinging your feet first onto the table and then pausing. Correct. Then we must check, are you in the middle of the table? Are you at the correct distance? And you're not, so just scoot down. First begin by lifting the butt. It's very much better to be in alignment before you even begin. Now roll down and lie down, and let's see what we've got this time. Correct. Good. Okay, so now we've got a better chance of getting you completely straight. So at the moment, it looks to me like you're slightly swinging over to the right with the pelvis and then going this way. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just lift the upper half of your body. Yeah, use your feet. That's right. Now lift the upper half of your body.
No.
Yes. Okay. This way. Just sit up a little bit. Roll up a little bit. Now lift this way and roll down. That's it. Now you should be in alignment, in a much better alignment. And there's no extra work to be done. You've got to, unless you're qualified to move people's bodies around, you've got to let them do it themselves, and you've got to guide them through what you want. And you're basically teaching them how to do it. You don't really have a choice. Mm-hmm. If you are qualified to move people's bodies around, then you can do the things that you see me doing to improve the alignment. So once the person is lying down on the table, then I straighten the person, and you see me doing something like this. I usually have the person in semi-supine, so the legs are bent, and that's because that's better for the lower back and the iliopsoas muscles. It releases them. And so what you do want to ask people to do on their own, because unless you're qualified to help them with this, you don't want to do it. You want to just ask them to do it. Okay, so Linda, from here, what I want you to do is just gently lift the pelvis just a little bit. That's it. Now lower it, allowing the lower back to be longer. That's right. That's what I wanted. She got it exactly right. And now what I tend to do, and this isn't something you can do unless you know how to do it, is I go up to the head like this, and then I go into monkey, which is this bending of the hips and knees and ankles, and I slide my hands underneath, and then I just lengthen the back out and I lift it like so. But you don't want to do that unless you know how, for two reasons. You can hurt yourself, which is the more important reason in this instance, but you can also make the client more uncomfortable, not more comfortable. And then I lift the head like so. So all of these adjustments, you need to teach the client how to make them for themselves when they lie down on the table. And so you have to literally ask them to adjust like this, and you don't want to begin until they are in a good physical alignment. Then once you've got that all sorted and straightened out, and you've got the person lying comfortable, and you see we've got a blanket here, but we put, in sessions I put a little pile of books under the head, but you've got to get that head lifted. You want the chin higher than the sternum. You don't want the person's head reaching back to the surface of the table like this. You don't want this effect when the person's lying down. You want this effect when the person's lying down, so that the chin is forward of the sternum. Okay, that's very important. Breathing is impinged if the head is reaching back that way. And it's not good for people's necks. It's just not good for the whole session, because that's an important piece of information there in the head, neck, back. The neck is the bridge, and you need that to be in good shape and to be relaxed during an energy healing and crystal healing session. Right. Then we do want the knees to be higher than the pelvis, so you can either keep the person in semi-supine, which is not a good idea in crystal surgery, because they're going to fall asleep at some point, they're going to drift off, and then their legs are going to wobble like this and fall like this and do all kinds of things, and then could even start shaking, and therefore we put a bolster under the legs. So here we go. Here's the bolster, and there we go, and that's all set up. And so now we have a physical alignment on which we can begin to have a process and apply some healing work. All right, so that's the first dynamic, is the physical alignment. The second dynamic that we are looking for is that the person begins to calm down. That's what the Alexander technique inhibition process is that when people come in, they're kind of all scatterbrained, they're tense, they're thinking about this thing that they haven't done yet, they're thinking about that thing that they're going to have to do afterwards, they're all over the place, and the nervous system needs to be calmed down into an alignment that can receive healing. And that's what we're using basic prep for. And so, as you know, and I'm not going to go through the whole of basic prep, but that's exactly what we're doing when we do basic prep. We are beginning that calming process. So, for those of you who are Alexander teachers and have begun the calming process with chair work, you might decide to do basic prep at a different point in the session, or the elements of basic prep. You might want to use them in a different way. But the reason I'm asking people to begin with basic prep is because I'm thinking that they haven't begun with the Alexander technique. And therefore, you want to begin with basic prep instead. And that is the point. So we have the fanning. And then we have, as we all know, the sweeping. And we just use a cluster for that. And this is what gets the general calming effect that we are seeking, is the three aspects of basic prep. So you sweep, and then we open the chakras. And you see this, particularly this one of balancing the chakras with each other, that is very, very much like the Alexander technique in terms of what it is delivering. And that is wonderful. And there we go, we can actually feel a huge response from Linda by doing this bit of basic prep. It's really amazing, isn't it? It's calming you just as I expect it to do, and that's the point. So that is the calming aspect that the inhibition of the Alexander technique delivers, and that's how I've built it into crystal surgery. So then next, what we want to look at is the muscular contraction relief that the Alexander technique delivers. So one of the things that we're doing in the Alexander technique is getting over-contracted muscles to release and allow that relaxation of the muscles. Allows a different kind of psychophysical alignment, which opens us up and gets us more receptive to the energy work. If people are tense, they are actually repelling what you're trying to put into the system. To be open and receptive, you do need to decontract at the physical level, relax at the mental level, and open at the energetic level. And for that we use Amazonite and golden azestulite. And of course I have my famous two pieces here. And so these two stones and this procedure that uses these two stones helps the muscles to relax and decontract in the same way as the Alexander technique does. So that's what we're doing when we do this. And sometimes you need to lead. Sometimes you need to lead with the golden azestulite, and that's what we're doing right now. And sometimes you lead with the Amazonite, and it doesn't matter which. The stones will guide you. That's what happened. I brought them both together into Linda's energy field, and then they wanted to do it like so. And this is actually very meaningful for Linda, and I can tell that as I'm speaking and doing this demo, Linda's going, oh, I can feel it in her, that she is going, oh, now I get it, I understand. And not only that, she's also thinking, I can use this to help me with massage, because you know what? If you prep people with these stones, your massage work will be much easier. If you prep people in this way, your Reiki will work better, your energy healing will work better, as well as your crystal surgery session working better. All energetic dynamics will be enhanced. You try it out and see. Okay, and so that's what you just clicked, is you won't have to work so hard in massage if you prep correctly and intelligently using the crystal surgery. So we're talking about using Alexander technique to prep for crystal surgery, but what about using crystals to prep for everything else you do? That works too, and it's a great and brilliant way to go, and we thought of it here first. Ha ha ha. So there we are. This is excellent, and of course we can come here, and don't forget the feet. People's feet are very tense and need to be relaxed, and you just want to know that this is an absolutely excellent way to begin sessions with clients. They just appreciate it so much. Who doesn't need to be more relaxed? So this is the muscular skeletal aspect of the Alexander technique, can be assisted or delivered, something akin to it can be delivered using golden azestulite, which is just gold quartz, golden colored quartz, and Amazonite. So that's the procedure that you want to do for delivering the muscular skeletal aspect of the Alexander technique. Now, this is not teaching the neural pathways, but it is delivering the capacity for a decontraction and relaxation and release of muscle tension. All right? Okay. Now, another piece of the Alexander technique is that by doing the Alexander technique, you are adjusting the fascia. Now we have a technique for that, and that is to use our Thunder Bay Amethyst and our diopside. So again, I do recommend this for my massage therapists. If you go over people with these two materials, diopside and Thunder Bay Amethyst, you will get a better massage for your client. I absolutely recommend it. And so that's the V gridding that we begin right here at the crown chakra. And then we bring that down like so. There we go. And I'm not going to do the whole demo of the procedure. I'm just saying, remember to use this. It will make a big, big, big difference to what happens next. So we'll just do a little bit. There we go. And a little bit here. And I do want you to try. I want you to see what's it like if you do this and then give a massage, and then do Reiki, and then do energy healing, and then do crystal surgery. You'll see. Now, for those of you that are Alexander teachers, what I recommend that you do is that you mix and match. You do this before Alexander technique, you do it after Alexander technique, and see what happens. Because one thing I do want you to check is that after you've used the diopside and Thunder Bay amethyst to release the irritable fascia and to get it to relax, you can actually stand at the feet, just let the heels rest in your hands, go into a little bit of a monkey and literally sway back on your ankles and check what kind of elasticity goes through the entire fascia system all the way up to the neck, and you will see a big improvement. You can test the efficacy of these two stones just by doing that, doing a before and after. What's that elasticity like before? What's it like after using these stones? It will blow you away. I swear, it will blow you away. And that's what I want you to do with your crystal surgery information. Check. See if it does for you what it's doing for me. Don't take my word for it. Don't just believe me. Don't take things on face value. Test for yourself. Do your research. Do your experimentation. It is amazing. All right. So that, again, is for the musculoskeletal system, and that's specifically for the fascia to get it to be more elastic and resilient and operating better. And, of course, don't forget, fascia is mostly water, 70 to 80% water, and that means you want to hydrate and use your moonstone for hydration, because that's what fascia needs. So all these crystal surgery bits and pieces have been built in because of my awareness of what the Alexander technique delivers. It's also explained to me what people need. And this is what people need. We have physical bodies that when they are uncomfortable, we are messed up mentally and energetically. So physical must not be dismissed. It is our foundation, and it is what we need to begin to pay attention to. Right. Now, the other thing that the Alexander technique delivers is an training for the nervous system. Now, we can't simulate that with crystal surgery. For that, we must stick with the Alexander technique, but we do want to speak to the nervous system. We do want to enhance the nervous system. We do want to engage the nervous system in the healing process. And the stones that best do that are our wonderful seraphinite and aquamarine. And so these two stones can do the best for you from the nervous system aspect of what the Alexander technique does. And that, again, is a deeper calming effect for the nervous system. And that's the equivalent of inhibition in the Alexander technique. And the aquamarine organizes the nervous system in a very nice way. It's different from the Alexander technique, but it's as close as you're going to get from the mineral kingdom. And that is the equivalent of direction in the Alexander technique. Those are the two pillars of the Alexander technique, are inhibition, where you learn to stop a habit pattern that you don't want. You learn how to do that with conscious thought. And then to get what you do want, you use conscious direction. That's the aquamarine component. And that's why you see me using these two such a lot, is because we get our inhibition from seraphinite. And it's not quite exactly the same, because this is not a cognitive process, and inhibition and direction are cognitive processes. But nonetheless, you're getting that input into the nervous system, and the nervous system really, really appreciates it. So there we are. That is a nervous system conditioning, we can call it, from the crystals that is as close to the Alexander technique as you're going to get. And that's how you're going to get your platform for continuing with the session if you are not an Alexander teacher. Now, do you need to do this every single time? Probably not, but you can investigate and you can see for yourself which of these are useful. And obviously, what I'm demonstrating is an in-person session. We don't do the Alexander technique remotely. And so in a remote sessions are built really, really differently and are not built on the platform of the Alexander technique. So I am talking in-person dynamics where you may use your hands as well. So what I am also going to do is make a demo of how to do laying on of hands, because hand energy is very, very important in healing work. The energy that comes from your hands has a value to it. I can say this, you cannot substitute for crystals. You also can't substitute for the healing that comes from your hands. And what is best is to use both. So excellent. Thank you very much. There we are, what to do if you are not an Alexander teacher. All right.